UEFA is distributing over €2.4 billion from this season's Champions League. The winning club stands to collect somewhere north of €100 million in total prize money and commercial payments. That number gets reported everywhere, on social media, in newspapers, in boardrooms across Europe. But here is the question nobody asks. How much of that €100 million does a player actually see in their bank account? Because when you run the real numbers, the contracts, the tax codes, the agent agreements, the accounting entries, the answer is genuinely embarrassing. The gap between what UEFA pays and what the player keeps is one of the most revealing financial stories in world football. Let's be clear about one thing before we go any further. UEFA does not pay players. Not one penny goes directly from UEFA to a footballer. Every euro of Champions League prize money is paid to the club, the legal entity, and it sits on the club's income statement as revenue. What happens next is entirely up to the terms of each player's individual contract. Most top-level player contracts include what are called performance bonus clauses, agreed payments triggered when the team reaches or wins a specific competition. Now here is where this gets interesting. UEFA's total prize pool in 2025-26 is approximately €2.4 billion, spread across 36 clubs in the league phase. The system has three layers: a flat participation fee of €18.62 million for simply qualifying, performance payments that go up with each round survived, and a value pillar, a massive commercial payment based on how much a club's domestic TV market is worth. That third layer is the one most fans have never heard of, and it is, as I'll show you, completely invisible to the players themselves. So how does the number break down, from €100 million all the way down to what a player actually touches? The Champions League prize structure is far more complex than a single winner's check. Let's build it up using a realistic scenario for a club that wins the whole competition in 2025-26. Start with the €18.62 million flat participation fee every qualifying club receives just for showing up in the league phase. Then add performance bonuses, €2.1 million per win and €700,000 per draw across the league phase. A strong side winning 5 and drawing 1 would add roughly €11.2 million to that. Then the knockout rounds add another layer. Reaching the round of 16 earns €11 million, the quarter-final €12.5 million, the semi-final €15 million, and the final itself adds €18.5 million before you even win it. The winners take an additional €25 million prize on top of that. Add all of that together, and a club winning the Champions League this season can realistically earn between €80 and €100 million in prize money alone, before the value pillar payment is even counted. And now, the value pillar. This is the payment most fans have never heard of, and it is transformative. The value pillar is based on the commercial value of each club's domestic television market. Arsenal, in 2025-26, received a value pillar payment estimated at €37 million. Bayern Munich received €43 million. PSG received €44 million. This money is distributed purely because of where the club is based, not because of how far they go in the competition. Arsenal's total Champions League revenue this season after the league phase hit an estimated €96 million. That is nearly €100 million to the club, but does a player get a share also? Here is where the math starts to sting. Player contracts at top clubs typically include Champions League bonus clauses worth between £500,000 and £1 million per player for winning the tournament. Manchester City's players were in line for approximately £1 million each for winning the Champions League, and that was reported as one of the more generous structures in the game. Real Madrid's players received €900,000 each when they won the La Liga and Champions League double in the same season. So let's use €1 million as a generous, top-of-market player bonus for actually winning the most prestigious club competition in world football. The club earned €100 million. The player receives €1 million. That is 1% of the total prize revenue going to the person who ran, tackled, scored, and performed across 9 months of football. As an accountant, the entry that always jumps out at me is the treatment of the remaining 99%. The club books the full €100 million as revenue. The player bonuses, if we assume a squad of 25 players each earning €1 million, amount to €25 million in wage costs. The club retains a net surplus of €75 million from the Champions League on top of its normal commercial income. The player's €1 million is not a share of prize money, and what happens next is even more interesting. Now let's take that €1 million bonus and run it through the real world. A player at a Premier League club in England immediately enters the 45% additional rate income tax band. National insurance contributions push the effective deduction closer to 47 to 48% on earnings above £125,000. On a £1 million Champions League bonus, a player in England takes home approximately £520,000 to £540,000. In Germany, the top marginal tax rate hits 47.5%, meaning a Bundesliga player earning a €1 million Champions League bonus keeps approximately €525,000. In France, the rate reaches 55.4%, leaving a player roughly €446,000 on the same gross bonus. In Spain, where many of the biggest clubs reside, Madrid region players pay a blended rate of approximately 45%, giving them around €550,000 net. To put that in language anyone can understand, a player who wins the Champions League, earns the maximum reported bonus, and plays in France takes home less than €500,000 from a competition that generated their club close to €100 million. Do you think this is fair? Let me know in the comment section below. While many fans know about taxes, this next level of deductions is quite unfamiliar to many. The player's agent. Standard agency agreements in elite football typically run between 5% and 10% of a player's gross earnings, including bonuses. On a €1 million Champions League bonus, the agent's gross commission could be between €50,000 and €100,000. In most jurisdictions, this is paid by the player from their net income, meaning the agent's fee comes out after tax, making the effective cost even higher. A player in England receiving a £1 million bonus, paying 47% in combined tax, is left with approximately £530,000. Their agent takes 5% of the gross £50,000 paid from that net amount. The player's final take-home figure, approximately £480,000 for winning the Champions League, the most watched club competition on the planet. Here is what everyone gets wrong about footballer earnings from the Champions League, and this is the thing that only becomes visible when you look at the full accounting picture. The value pillar payment, that €37 to €44 million a club receives simply for playing in a major TV market, is almost entirely invisible to players. There is no standard contractual mechanism that ties a player's bonus to their club's value pillar receipt. A player at Arsenal does not earn a single extra penny because Arsenal is based in London rather than Lisbon. Yet Arsenal earns approximately €37 million more from the same tournament than Sporting CP simply because of postcode. As an accountant, what that tells us is that the Champions League prize structure is not really a performance incentive for players, it is a commercial revenue distribution system for clubs. The performance bonuses, the part players can actually access through contracts, represent less than 40% of what a club actually earns from the tournament. The majority sits in the participation fee and the value pillar, flat commercial payments based on brand value and geography, not results on the pitch. The real reason the smartest players and their agents no longer lean on Champions League bonuses as meaningful income is this. They have done exactly this maths. The elite earners, the Mbappés, the Bellinghams, the Vinicius Juniors, negotiate massive signing bonuses and guaranteed gross wage structures precisely because they know contractual bonuses represent a tiny, heavily taxed fraction of the commercial value their performances generate for the club. The Champions League bonus is not income planning, it is a rounding error on a balance sheet worth $100 million. So, what are we to take from this? This breakdown explains something important about how the football economy actually works. Prize money flows to institutions, not to individuals. The clubs have built a system where they capture nearly all of the commercial upside, while players are rewarded primarily through wages that clubs can only afford to pay because of tournaments like this one. If you found this Champions League financial breakdown story interesting, you will absolutely be fascinated by this next video where I break down the financial secret behind Real Madrid's billion empire. Click it and I'll see you there. Cheers.